Jai Hind everyone, I am Dr. Nitisha Shrivastava, Assistant Professor in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College in Ghaziabad, in Uttar Pradesh in India. Today we will focus on two practice questions based on the control system topic, root locus. The first example we will consider here is, the given system GSHS is equal to K divided by S plus 3 into S plus 4. So for this system, we will identify how many poles are there. The number of poles in this system are 2, which is written here as 2, and so therefore P is equal to 2. And a number of zeros in the system is Z, which is nil, that is 0. Therefore, how many loci will be drawn? It depends on the number of poles and number of zeros in the system. So, number of poles is 2 and number of zeros is 0. Therefore, the number of loci, that is P minus Z, will be 2. So, number of poles is 2. Therefore, the number of loci will be 2. And how many loci will be going to infinity depends on P minus Z. So, since Z is 0, the number of loci which will be going to infinity is 2. Number of loci depends on how many poles are there in the system or how many zeros are there in the system. If P is greater than Z, that means that the number of loci will be equal to the number of poles. So, the case here is P is greater than Z. And to plot this poles and zeros in the system, so this is the S plane. We will plot the poles and zeros in the system. This is -1, -2, -3, -4. This is 0. And on the right hand side on the real axis, 1, 2, 3. This is the imaginary axis. So, -J1, -J2, -J3, -J4. And here you will have J1, J2, J3 and J4. So, this is the S plane where the root locus will be plotted. Now, the root locus on the real axis. How do we find out the root locus on the real axis? The root locus on the real axis here is between -4 and -3. This means that the sum of the poles plus zeros on that is the sum of the poles and zeros on the right should be an odd number. So, when I look from -3 towards the right side, we can find that there are number of poles plus zeros is 0. Okay. And now when I look from point which is left side of -3, when I look from this side, I find that the number of poles plus zeros on the right of this part is 1, that is -3. So, this part is a root locus in the system. This part on the real axis is a root locus. Now, when I look from -4 to the right side, I find that the sum of the poles plus zeros is an even number. That is, there are 2 poles on the right side when I look from the -4. So, therefore, the root locus on the real axis is only between -3 and -4. The left side of -4 or the right side of -3 is not part of root locus. Now, to find, we have checked that the number of loci which is going towards the infinity is 2. It means that we need to find that the angle of asymptotes and the centroid. To find the angle of asymptotes, we have this formula phi A. Phi A is nothing but 180 degree into 2q plus 1 divided by P minus Z. Now, q is taken as 0. So, we get that phi A1 is equal to 90 degree. And when we take q is equal to 1, because there are 2 angle of asymptotes, we get that when we put phi q as 1, we get that phi a is equal to 180 degree into 2 plus 1, that is into 3 divided by p minus z 2. So, we get this as 270 degree. Now, how do you find the centroid? The formula for centroid is equal to sum of poles minus sum of zeros divided by p minus z. Therefore, sum of poles here is minus 3 plus of minus 4 minus 0 divided by 2 minus 0, that is 2, which is minus 7 by 2, and that is minus 3.5. So, the angles are, angle of asymptote is minus 90 degree and 270 degree, and centroid is minus 3.5. So, let us mark minus 3.5 here. Minus 3.5 is this point. Let us say this is the centroid. Phi A is equal to minus 3.5. And now, the angle of asymptotes which is forming here is 90 degree and 270 degree. So, let us mark the asymptotes here. Asymptotes is with an angle of 90 degree. So, this angle is 90 degree, and since this angle is 270 degree, so we will get it as the two asymptotes are this. Now, to plot the root locus, we also have to find the breakaway point. To find the breakaway point, because the root locus starts from an open loop pole and ends at an open loop 0, or it will end at infinity. Since number of zeros in this system are only nil, therefore, the root locus will start from minus 3 and tend towards infinity, and the other, that is minus 4, the pole starting from minus 4, the locus will start from minus 4 and go towards the infinity. So, what is the breakaway point? When the gain is 0, the sketch is here, but after this what happens? When the locus keeps on moving, it will break on the real axis. Now, where it will break, that could be found out with this. To find the breakaway point, we have this formula, 1 plus GSHS is equal to 1 plus this. We need to find the value of k. So, dk by ds is the formula to find the breakaway point, the roots of dk by ds. To find the roots of dk by ds, we have this 1 plus GSHS comes out to be s square plus 7s plus 12 plus k equal to 0. So, GSHS is given to us. This is k divided by s plus 3 into s plus 4. So, this is the GSHS given. We have to first find out the 1 plus GSHS, that is this part, and then equate it to 0. That is, we are equating the characteristic equation to 0. Now, 1 plus GSHS comes out to be this. We will find an equation for k. So, k is minus s square minus 7s minus 12. Now, to find the centroid, dk by ds, it is coming out to be, that is s square will become minus 2s here and minus 7s, then this will be 0. So, dk by ds expression is minus 2s minus 7. So, s is equal to minus 3.5. Therefore, the breakaway point here is minus 3.5. Coincidentally here, the centroid and the breakaway point is coming out to be 3.5. So, we will plot the sketch here. So, this is the breakaway point. This also is the breakaway point. That is minus 3.5. So the now locus will start from the open loop pole, this minus 3 will start at minus 3, will start from here and go towards infinity, and this will start from here and go towards infinity. So for your reference, I have plotted here. We can see this is the MATLAB sketch of the system which I have taken as example 1. We can see here that this is the minus 3.5 line, this is the axis, right? This is the 0, this is minus 3.5, and the locus where it is breaking is, now it is starting from minus 3, this is minus 3 and this is minus 4. So this is what we also sketched here. We got this as minus 3 and minus 4. So this will start from minus 3, this will start from minus 3 and go towards infinity. So one locus will start from minus 3 and go towards infinity, whereas this will start from minus 4, break at 3.5 and go towards infinity. Now looking at the root locus, it seems that this root locus will not intersect with the imaginary axis. However, we can also check it by the expression. To know whether the root locus is lying on the imaginary axis or not, we can find it out by just putting s is equal to j omega. Now when we put s is equal to j omega, here it becomes gj omega plus hj omega is equal to k divided by, in place of s we are writing it as j omega. So j omega plus 3 and j omega plus 4. Now to separate the real and imaginary parts, since we are finding out the intersection of the root locus on the imaginary axis, we will have to know that where it is intersecting. So to do this, we need to separate the real and the imaginary parts. Now to separate real and imaginary parts, we need to rationalize the system. That is 3 minus j omega into 4 minus j omega divided by 3 minus j omega into 4 minus j omega. So when you rationalize this system and separate the real and imaginary part, this is the real part and this is the imaginary part. So to know that where does this root locus intersect the imaginary axis, we are equating this part to 0, that is the imaginary part to 0, and it can be found out that when we equate it to 0, we get omega equal to 0. This clearly means that the root locus will not intersect on the imaginary axis, as can also be seen from here that the locus starts from minus 3 and tends towards infinity, and locus starts from minus 4 and tends towards infinity. It is not interacting with the imaginary axis. Also, one more thing which we need to find out when we are plotting the root locus is the angle of departure and angle of arrival. As mentioned here, there are no complex poles and no complex zeros. Therefore, there is no angle of departure and angle of arrival. So in this system, neither we are having a complex pole nor any complex zero. So this system will not have any angle of departure or angle of arrival. So this is what we have plotted, and this is the MATLAB sketch for the ready reference. Now we will take up the second example. Now in this example, we can see that we have one additional zero, one additional pole at the origin. Now this S is at the origin, that is one pole at the origin, then this at minus 2 and this at minus 3. So in the second example, we are considering here are two real poles and one pole at the origin. To start the analysis, first we need to know how many poles are there, because the certain rules which we follow to draw the root locus starts by knowing how many poles are there, how many zeros are there in the system, to plot those poles in zeros, and then to find out the number of loci and to find the root locus on the real axis. And we also know that the root locus is symmetrical about the real axis. That was obvious with the previous example as well. So, to start with, the number of poles here are 3. That means S is equal to 0, S is equal to -2 and S is equal to -3. So, this is the S plane, the real axis and the imaginary axis, where we will plot the root locus. Number of poles 3, that means the value of P is 3, whereas the value of Z is 0, as we don't have any zeros in the system. So, to know the number of loci, the formula for number of loci is, if P is greater than Z, then the number of loci of the system will be equal to the number of poles. And if Z is greater than P, then the number of loci of the system will be equal to number of zeros, that is Z. And if P is equal to Z, that means the number of poles and the number of zeros in the system are equal. It means that the number of loci will be equal to number of poles, which is also equal to number of zeros. So, in this case, the number of poles is 3, and therefore, the number of loci is coming out to be 3. And to know that how many loci goes towards the infinity, for this we know that the root locus starts from an open loop pole and ends at an open loop 0. Or if there are no zeros, then the root locus will end at infinity. That means varying the parameter k is equal to 0 to infinity, the locus will start at the open loop pole at k is equal to 0 and will terminate at k is equal to infinity at infinity. And number of loci going to infinity is 3. Where are the root locus on the real axis? So, let's mark the real and imaginary axis. -1, -2, -3, 1, 2, 3, -j1, -j2, -j3, j1, j2 and j3. So, these are the axis markings on the real and the imaginary axis. So, we are going to mark these poles at S is equal to 0 and -2 here and -3. There are no zeros in the system, so the number of poles are been marked. Now, where on the real axis lies the root locus? To know that, we need to know the number of poles and zeros, the sum of poles and zeros to the right side of that part of the root locus. So, when I look from this part, now when I look from this part, like when I look from here or when I look from this side, when I look from this side, I can find that the sum of poles and zeros to the right hand side is an odd number. That is, we have one pole at the origin. Therefore, this part of the real axis is part of root locus. Now, the same thing when I look from the left side of -2. When I look from the left side of -2, I find that the sum of poles and zeros, that is, one is at 0, that is origin, and one is at -2. Therefore, the sum becomes 2. Therefore, the root locus or the part of real axis between -3 and -2 is not part of root locus. And now when I start looking from the side, that is from -3, when I look to the right side of -3, I find that the number of poles plus zeros, that is 1, 2, 3, is an odd number. Therefore, root locus on real axis is right part of -2, that is this part is root locus, and left of -3. So, till infinity, this is the part of root locus. Now, we need to find, since we know that the 3 loci will go towards infinity, we need to find the centroid and also the angle of asymptotes. To know the angle of asymptotes, we have this formula 180 degree into 2q plus 1 divided by p minus z. So, here putting q is equal to 0 to start with, we will put q equal to 0. Here we get p minus z as 3. P is number of poles and z is number of zeros. So, 3 minus 0 is 3. So, when we put q is equal to 0, we get that phi A1, that is the angle of asymptote, is 60 degree. 180 degree, that is, if we are finding phi A1, we will get it as 180 degree divided by 3. So, this is coming out to be 60 degree. Similarly, now when you put q is equal to 1, we get phi A2 as 180 degree, and when we put q equal to 2, we are getting phi A3 as 300 degree. Now, to find the centroid, the formula to find the centroid is sum of poles minus sum of zeros divided by p minus z, that is 3 here in this case. P minus z is 3. So, 3 minus 0. So, sum of poles is 1 at the origin plus -2 plus -3, and there are no zeros, divided by 3. So, this is minus 5 by 3, which is minus 1.67. So, we can mark the centroid here as minus 1.67. Minus 1.67 to know that at which angle the loci will go towards infinity. So, this will come out to be here minus 1.67, right, and the 3 angles are 60 degree, 180 degree and 300 degree. So, 60 degree is around somewhere like this. This is the 360, this is 60 degree. So, root locus is symmetrical about the real axis. This is 300 degree, this is 300 degree, and 180 degree is this line. So, these are the 3 asymptotes, and the angle 60 degree, 180 degree and 300 degree. So, as we know that the root locus starts at an open loop pole. Now, after travelling from 0, this has to break away to go towards the infinity. Now, as we can see it here, the -3 on the right side of -3, it is not part of root locus. Therefore, the -3 locus will start here and it will go towards infinity at this 180 degree. Now, to find that what is the breakaway point, because here we are having 2 asymptotes which are going towards infinity, and what will be its value. To find that, we need to know the breakaway point. So, the formula for breakaway point is dk by ds, we have to find out and equate it to 0. To find dk by ds, we have to first write 1 plus GSHS, which is the characteristic equation. the characteristic equation comes out to be s cube plus 5s square plus 6s plus k. And to find dk by ds, we are writing an equation for k. K will be minus s cube minus 5s square plus minus 6s. So, when we differentiate is dk by ds simply means that we are differentiating. So, this comes out to be minus 3s square and minus 5 into 2 10s minus 6 equal to 0. So, the roots of dk by ds is coming out to be minus 0.784 and minus 2.548. Looking at this, we are getting two values. So, to know which is the breakaway point among these two, we need to know that which is lying on the real axis. Now, we can clearly see that this minus 2.5 comes somewhere here. Now, between minus 3 and minus 2, that part of real axis is not a root locus. Therefore, this value minus 2.5 will not be a breakaway point. Breakaway point will be therefore minus 0.784. So, minus 0.784 can be marked here between this minus 1 and 0 somewhere here. So, that means the locus will start from here and go towards infinity. So, for ready reference, I have drawn this MATLAB sketch. This is the MATLAB, this is what we will be drawing. So, here we can see that this is going towards infinity at an angle of minus 180 degree, and here it is starting from 0, breaking away here and going towards infinity. So, we will mark this here on the root locus. It has to start from this point and then go towards infinity. So, this will start from here and go towards infinity. So, it is very much obvious that the locus will intersect with the imaginary axis. Now, on what is the value where this will intersect on the imaginary axis? So, there are two ways to find that. One is, we are simply going to put s is equal to j omega in the expression given to us and then rationalize the system, separate the real and imaginary parts. So, when you rationalize the system, we get this expression minus 5 omega square minus j 6 omega minus omega cube. So, this part of the system is the imaginary part, and whereas this part of the system is the real part. So, to find that where on the imaginary axis the root locus, the loci will intersect, we have to equate the imaginary part to 0. So, when we equate the imaginary part to 0, we find that 6 minus omega square is equal to 0. Therefore, the term omega is plus or minus 2.5 radians per second. So, this will be somewhere here, minus 2.5 here and here. So, that means this root locus will start from here and go towards infinity. This will break away here and go towards infinity. So, this blue line and this green lines are the root loci of the system. So, the other way to find the intersection of the root locus on the imaginary axis can also be done using the Routh-Hurwitz criterion. This is the sketch. So, we know this one pole was marked at 0, this another at minus 3 and minus 4. So, this is the MATLAB sketch to have a ready look at how the root locus will perform. So, this is going towards the infinity and this is starting from 0 and going towards infinity. As we know that there are no zeros, therefore, the loci will start at an open loop pole and terminate at infinity. Thank you.